Alrighty, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Soren. Joining me on the desk tonight, a little bit of a switch up. We have Becky on the desk. We are getting right into the draft. It is TD versus BTL, the only 2-0 team versus the team that is 1-1, but is one of the top performing teams of the split so far. Becky, how we feel going into this one?
Well, I'm feeling pretty all right, all things considered. Uh, Last week there were some interesting games. I actually got to watch BTL's series because I've been broadcasting the Flannel games on the Flannel channel. And BTL actually took an 0-2. Granted, they didn't have their starting roster. That week. They were missing, I believe, 2 players. But they dropped a couple of games to Flannel. And the question is, has Flannel improved, or is maybe Black Twitch League looking a little worse for wear this season? Probably just Black Twitch League didn't have their starters. I can't imagine Flannel's looking much better after watching 2 weeks of their games. No disrespect, of course, to the Flannel players. But
Nice.
TD has been coming in swinging. They're the only team who has not dropped a single game so far, and they're looking to start off strong here with I think it's the Instalock Mel going in for their B1.
Yeah, absolutely. Not as prevalent in the current meta as she was, especially in the last act, but is still very strong. Obviously, makes it very difficult to draft around when you know that any powerful projectiles can just get sent right back at you in a Uno reverse fashion. So you have to be a little careful in that regard. But it doesn't seem like BTL are that deterred. They are going to go for Tristana and Nautilus, which is a solid pairing in that bot lane. But Tristana obviously can also get flexed into that mid role, where I think she's been more commonly played rather than as the ADC, at least in the current meta. So that is something, a flex to look out for. But yeah, no, BTL, I believe they may have a sub. I saw that they have an e sub in their back pocket in case. Oh, sorry. Never mind. Bouncy is out. Bouncy is on the last week of his suspension, so he is definitely out. I believe they have Black filling in for them. Meanwhile, TD might have a sub. They're the team who might have an issue with Lacuna, their jungler, who's one of the top performing statistically players. So that's going to be something to look out for. But we do see Lacuna is here, so they do have everyone. So bar Bouncy, who's obviously still on that suspension, everyone is present for all teams. We do have the first 6 rounded out with that Fizz, Tristana, and Nautilus. So rather than going for a jungler like we typically see, they're going for that bot lane duo and the mid lane. Meanwhile, a little bit of a change up. They're going for what looks like a support, top, and mid pickup for TD.
Yeah, I will say I've been a big fan of Braum recently. I think just so often in draft, it feels like Braum is always the right answer, no matter what situation you're in. No matter what problems, Braum just solves them. And I think that in terms of getting a good pick, especially once they reveal the Nautilus there, I do think it is pretty decent. It's going to come down to who they pair with the Braum, and you can see BTL are going to be targeting definitely the Lucian you want to take out. The Ezreal, I think, is just targeting more of a preferred pick for TD. There are other good AD carries that go with Braum, but if you're looking for a great duo, Lucian, of course, Lucian Braum's a classic. The Fizz, I think, is very fascinating. I imagine it's based on comfort of an individual player. Having not looked at the rosters until I did, Bo Chicken, Bo Chicken Fizz. That's not that. Where
hey,
huh?
And when you think about it, I believe technically the ultimate is a projectile, but that does mean that Mel is not going to get as much value out of that reversal as they typically get. So I don't think it is an outrageous pick. It's definitely an out there pick. I would 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, I expect nothing less from Boat Chicken. I know he does prefer some of those more, I guess, for lack of a better term, he prefers playing more melee, assassin oriented champions. It's just his bread and butter. Uh, so that sort of fills the same requirement there. Uh, Again, for better or for worse. We'll see how it really pays, if it pays out for him in this game. Meanwhile, TD will be rounding out their comp with a Sivir and a Fiora. Sivir, with the auto reset on Ricochet and the boosted attack speed, he's very good at proccing Braum passive, and also with Gwen, enabling Gwen with the on the hunt is pretty decent. The Fiora, I think, is the Fiora blind, looking to
Yeah.
go Fiora top on that one, is certainly an interesting choice. It shows a lot of confidence coming in from TD's top laner, who I believe is playing into Napquan, who is
Yeah.
actually here this week. Napquan was not here last week, and it definitely impacted BTL pretty badly. Uh,
Yeah.
so Napquan's going to be picking up the set, and that's, I guess, closer to a bit more of a skill matchup for the Fiora. Uh, it's not going to make the Fiora completely useless, but it's going to come down to who is going to be playing better, who's hitting their buttons at the right time, uh, as it often is with Fiora into a lot of different top laners.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually not surprised to see Napquan get that final pick. Napquan is statistically the best performing player on BTL. I'm not surprised to see them want to prioritize that pick, even though top lane is not kind of seen as that real big priority in the current meta. So we see them locking that set. Like I agree with you 100%. I think that is going to come down to a very big skill matchup. I do think blinding Fiora was definitely a choice. That feels very. I know we've talked about it before, but that feels very Renekton coded, where you only pick it if you are very confident that you are going to have a good either matchup or you're confident enough on the champion that you can win despite a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I am actually kind of split. I think both teams have pretty good compositions. I think that mid lane between Goat Chicken and Lizzo, that pairing of the Mel and the Fizz is going to be the one to look out for. It's either going to go completely neutral if Mel can keep the Fizz down, or I think Fizz might just farm. So that's going to be something to look out for, and that might be a big problem, especially as there's not. I guess there's Braum. I was gonna say there's not like an
Mm-hmm.
outright tank for the side of TD. Excuse me. So that's I think gonna be something to look out for. But honestly, BTLTD, two really strong teams. I'm expecting this to be a bit of a bang out series. I would not be surprised if we go all three here. And just as a reminder to everyone, of course, because this is only week 3 of the split, we are fearless this split.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone that you see picked on your screen now, and as we round out the final two and support picks, they are all going to be unavailable for games 2 and 3 if we go there. So that is something to remember as we get farther in. But right now, Becky, who do you? I don't want to ask for a prediction because it's way too early, but at least compositionally wise, who do you think won this draft?
I will say both drafts are very strange. There are things that I like
Fair.
about both of the drafts. Things like Braum Sivir, I think, is a good duo. I think Sivir enables champions like the Gwen to do very well. The Mel is just a very safe, stable pick. But on the other side, I do like the Lilia. I like the set the set pick up there. It'll be a little interesting. It'll come down to if Napquan plays well in there. And I guess the main thing is I'm not a super big fan of Nautilus on the current patch. I think he's been a little worse for wear recently. He still has all of his insane buttons, but his numbers are just so bad. They're so bad that uh champions that actually do damage to him can make it very difficult. And I think with playing into Braum and Sivir, I imagine unless the Nautilus gets an early level lead, with the Tristana, it's going to be very difficult for the two of them to actually utilize that kill pressure. And on top of that, I just don't understand. I get the Fizz in theory. They're playing a melee assassin into Mel because that's typically what Mel's biggest weakness is. But I don't know. You're not Metro Dragneel, buddy. I don't think the Fizz is going anywhere.
Absolutely. I do tend to agree with you. But as we kind of wind down here before the spectator delay, obviously I already mentioned that Goat Chicken and Lizzo pairing. I also do want to mention the bot lane duos. Obviously, Macho and Foot Stomper, two new players to the split, so they're going to be two to look out for. Meanwhile, Humble and Coco are the actually only pairing in the split to have stayed as a pairing from split one. So a whole new setup, a whole new to the split itself into the league versus the only team that really kind of stayed together on that bot side. So that's also going to be something to look out for. But that being said, we are going to be taking a brief break for the spectator delay. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a couple minutes' time with the first game of the BTL excuse me, not ID, TD series. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be a banger. Alrighty, everyone. We are getting underway here in game number one between TD and BTL. TD on the blue side, BTL on the red. It does look like we are going to have a standard 5 point if you're just now joining us. It's obviously week 3 of the LFA. My name is Soren. Joining me today is Becky, and it looks like we're not going to see anything too crazy here, Becky. It looks like people are just going to see what they can find information wise.
Yeah, Boat Chicken getting some information, as in several auto attacks into his backside.
It's
Not
fine.
sure.
Tis a
I
full
don't
stream.
think. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna need to recall off of that. It's just gonna be, have to wait a little bit for those pots to tick on through. But yeah, looking at the start here, I guess a couple of interesting things. First of all, the big one here. Unsurprisingly, you do have the ignite on the Fizz. Boat Chicken, 100% going to be trying to push and
Oh,
pressure early. Oh, hold up. Do have a potential early engage right here. Root going to go down on the Humble right there. Hook right back in. The Ignite's going to tick down. Bomb's going to blast. And with that auto attack coming out, yeah, that's just going to be first blood out of nowhere. A big fumble from Humble.
yeah, and that's going to help him out a lot in the early game. Obviously, that's going to deny that Sivir a lot of CS. But the unfortunate thing for the side of BCL is that kill did not go over the Matcha. That did go onto the Nautilus. So the kill didn't go to the ideal member, but it is going to give Matcha a little bit of a lead early on here, which can really help when you're going up against such a strong pairing of Humble and Coco.
Yeah, it'll be something to have to worry about. Okay, we got another hook coming down, but this one's going to betray back a lot less favorably, as Foot Stomper takes a lot of damage there. That's the typical Nautilus experience. You hook in, and then you lose most of your HP bar because your resistances are terrible. Another hook coming in. Jump is going to go down, going to slow Coco a bit. Flash still up, will not need to be burned, as Trey, this is a very aggressive bot lane.
Yeah, already trying to put as much pressure onto Humble and Coco as they can. And they do crash the wave. Oh, engage coming in here.
Okay, Black Fate not gonna spin Melly G there. We'll just allow Napquan to pick that one up. First kill on top lane goes over to Napquan. At the very least, Black Fate did get an assist, so that time is not completely wasted. Meanwhile, Lacuna on the Gwen here is getting up to that top side of camps. Black Fate actually decided to go top side clear into gank, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, obviously Lilia is seen more as a hyper farmer, at least till they get to that level 6 marker and they can start actually having an impact in team fights. But instead, going in, they did get an assist there. I was actually going to say, I don't even know if they got an assist. They mostly just deterred Melly G from walking back to the turret. But they do get an assist there. They do go for the recall and go for that bot side take, or the bot side jungle take. Obviously, that does mean Lacuna pretty much gets their clear done about a minute early, and they are able to secure that top side scuttle. But in the current meta, I don't know if that top side scuttle is going to be as prevalent. Obviously, no grubs to fight for so early.
And we do have an engage coming right here. Rocket Jump's going to slow down Humble just a little bit. Root's going to go down. The explosive shot will blast away the Sivir. Coco's now going to be the next target here. Auto attacks are going to slow them down, but the Braum will walk away. Good gank and good CC chain coming out onto Humble. Another kill picked up. This time by the Lilia, but Black Fate is now going to be in a whole heap of trouble. Lacuna popping the Ghost just to secure that one, as Black Fate, not sure what exactly the game plan was there, but trades up 1-for-1 now.
Yeah, probably just wasn't expecting the Lilia to be there, obviously. Was probably hoping they get that before the Sivir got inbound, but Lacuna spoiled that party for them. Notably, this feat of warfare did go over to BTL after that gank, so that is already one in favor of them. Obviously, there's not been any jungle objectives to even fight for. Drake is going to be up in about 10 seconds, so that will change soon, but obviously between the 3 jungle objectives and or the turret, those are still going to be a couple minutes out from really having any real impact. It does look like it's going to be the Chemtech Drake to start us off. I believe one of the stronger souls, so
Ooh.
sad to see that not be an option.
Lizzo going to be caught up here. The watch out Eep will hit Lizzo. A lot of damage coming down. Flash going to get blown, and now it's Boat Chicken who's going to be in a little bit of danger here. Lacuna trying to close the gap. Great hook from Foot Stomper to keep Laguna out. Flash coming in from Black Fate. Oh, but the watch out Eep does not connect. And that'll mean that another kill will be given over by Black Fate into the pockets of TD. Lizzo staying alive just narrowly. Same with Boat Chicken.
Yeah.
Except that unless Boat Chicken decides to trade his whole existence for a crumb.
Mid lane is for the supports, clearly, as you can see, the only two left standing after that fight. Though it does look like a bit of an early engage. I'd imagine it's not going to be a full, yeah, Macho is just going to put a little bit of pressure. But after those kills, it does pretty much level everything out, though Lily is now having 2 kills.
Yeah, and speaking of 2 kills on the board, Napquan now has another one in pocket as Black Fate getting around the map quite a lot this game, making the most of it. Great dodge from Boat Chicken in the mid lane. A lot of damage going in. Now that Boat Chicken is level 6, it's going to be a little bit harder for Lizzo to play this lane. Obviously, you have the Reflector. It can reflect the Shark, but you know, if you use it to negate damage, you could be in a little bit of trouble. Okay, we have the Shark and the Ignite going to be going down, trying to tick onto Lizzo as Laguna is going to try and pick that one up, dipping forward, snipping him out. Boat Chicken will go down just narrowly as Lizzo limps away.
Yeah, and TD have done a very good job of kind of crawling back into this game after having a pretty rough start. But to be fair, that is kind of off the back of 2 really easy kills that went on to Black Fate, kind of giving away kills when they really didn't need to. So that is going to be something to look at, but they're still kind of in the driver's seat. They're still technically ahead on gold, even though it's only about 100 and it's still so early in the game. No one has even tried for any Drakes yet, so it's pretty level, if slightly favored by BTL. They're mostly getting a lot of value out of this roaming Lilia.
Yeah, and Lilia has been doing really well, I think, at keeping up with CS and just trying to get what she can done around the map. Obviously is still down on the Gwen, but the Gwen has been kind of power farming this game. And really just responding to plays more than actively creating them, which, you know, is kind of what all she really needs to do, but something to at least be, you know, something to think about, I suppose, as Boat Chicken has not been having the best time in this lane. Down about 30 CS, taking a lot of damage, but I guess Boat Chicken having a CS deficit is the least surprising thing I've seen all day, actually.
Ooh,
we do have a fight breaking out here. Root's going to go down, stun from the Braum passive, ticking on the 2 as Lacuna's going to try and pierce through Black Fate, but Stomper going to have to jump over the wall. Humble will go down, trading 1 back to start. Boat Chicken has arrived. The Roam of the Fizz. Depth Charge going to go down, trying to lock up this Gwen. Low HP bars on the side of BTL, but the CC chains are almost enough. Will take down the Gwen, but man, it was a nail biter to do so.
I think we all just saw visions there of a horrifying scenario where Lacuna gets 1 more Q off and that goes through, and that's a triple kill there. It was so close, but in the end, it does favor BTL as they extend the lead just a little bit. Now about a 500 gold difference. Again, there's a lot of vision down by that Drake, but there's really not been a lot of presence besides that. Grubs are also up, so 2 major jungle objectives are available to fight for. Neither team has really shown interest, as we do see that Lilia sitting on that top side. Not going to get anything, but just constantly going in and out of these lanes. The value of the speed behind Lilia is that she could do that. Just they've been doing it very early this time around. We have kind of been actually seeing Lacuna and Black Fate swap. Oh, we do see Grubs take here.
Yeah, the Grubs will get started. It looks like Foot Stomper and Boat Chicken are thinking about interrupting. Black Fate is taking a camp right now, though. They might have a plant to get over the wall. I'm unsure. Yeah, it looks like they're just going to give that one up. But Stomper going to have to get out of here. Blackbait may want to look for a fight, though. We got a spin coming down onto Coco. Shield's going to go up. Lacuna is here. I don't know if they want this anymore. Foot Stomper, 2 procs, 2 ticks, but no fighting that will continue here.
Yeah, Lacuna is becoming a problem, and actually something I didn't really even notice until I went back and did a little studying in between the games, is that last week Lacuna on this Gwen pick in the jungle was actually terrifying and almost solo won them a game. So the fact that they have them on it again is a terrifying prospect. We're seeing that already.
Yeah, Boat Chicken going to be very low right now, dodging out on the Mel Q, but now Foot Stomper could be in a bit of danger. Never mind, the depth charge is going to go out. Lacuna cannot protect themselves. They are not going to watch out. They are going to eep as Napquan picks up a third for themselves. Black Fate going for another aggressive flash, looking for the Drowsy, trying to keep the Mel asleep, closing the gap, and that will be Black Fate trading their own lives once again for a kill onto the mid. Lizzo trades that one back.
I'd like to formally apologize to Lacuna. I cast the curse to them. I was saying they should solo won a game last week, and then within 15 seconds, they died. So that's rough. But again, BTL, while they're taking risky trades, and we do continue to see Black Fate continue to fall repeatedly, actually having more deaths than kills, they're still doing such a good job at setting up the team. And even when they're taking fights, if they're losing 1, they're getting 2, as they got an early lead. It kind of closed, but now it's very slowly expanding. 7 and 8. They now have about a 1.5k gold lead. It's been nothing crazy. There's not been like one bang out 5v5 team fight that's very clearly swung the pendulum in one way or another. It's more of a death by 1,000 cuts scenario currently, as we do see, especially after seeing Napquan kill Melly G up on that top side, that gap up there has become noticeable.
Yeah, and it's going to be a matter of, that top lane matchup is certainly a skill game, and it looks like the skill's not going to go in their favor, as we do have Lacuna looking to try and pierce through Macho, who will get out of dodge right now, but now Foot Stomper is going to be the one to go down. Smite will slow down Black Fate. Going to try and get a spin, just a little bit more damage, but not nearly enough. Triumph procs. Boat Chicken looking to trade here. Does have the fish. Needs to be careful, though, as Lizzo is on the roam. And yeah, with nothing left to do, it looks like Boat Chicken will have to just walk away from that one 2-4 in TD's favor. Unless Boat Chicken finds something here. Yeah, no, will not go forward. Coco goes over to give a little bit of protection. And yeah, like, again, stays 2-0.
Yeah, and never mind. Boat Chicken going crazy. Nope, just
it's 2-0. Please stop, Boat Chicken. Please.
Take the win. Take the win. But yeah, no, I do want to point out actually Macho, who has not gotten any kills, so they've not gotten to a very advanced position, but they have put a sizable about 30 CS gap between them and Humble. So even though they have not been as impactful in the game CS-wise, they are in the lead, which is helping them a lot to stay in that bot lane pairing. And just by the fact that they are staying pretty even in that regard, it also means Humble has not been able to get very advanced either, only securing 1 kill. Obviously, Coco roaming a lot more has gotten more assists, so a little bit more impact for them, but they are going to try to snowball a little bit. Obviously, Napquan putting pressure on that top side. Meanwhile, that Drake is secured. So that is going to be one major jungle objective apiece. Napquan's going to collapse in on here.
And Napquan could be in a bit of danger right now. Will try and survive, but does not have the shield. Will take the stun out. Will end up being taken down. A good gank coming in. 3 men on top side. And they're going to get Melly G up to the tower, which may at least get some damage into it, if nothing else.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, no more turret plates to play with, but securing the first turret would be really nice. Obviously, the Feat of Warfare did go over to BTL, so if they can secure that turret, that just means it becomes a race for the major jungle objectives, which, as I said before, is 1-1.
1-1 here, as we do have Macho trying to dive here with the rest of his team. It's a very easily secured dive onto the Sivir, who is left on her lonesome. One of the big risks you take, sending your support top. Is your AD carry is a sitting duck.
Yeah, absolutely. Notably, it does also give a kill over to the Tristana. So, like I said before, they were keeping it pretty neutral, but had a pretty good CS lead. But now getting that kill does put them a little bit even farther ahead. Meanwhile, second major jungle objective is secured for the side of TD. Obviously, we do see a very big siege on that bot. So I don't think it really matters. They're gonna lose it. So that is gonna be a feat of strength going over to BTL. They were not able to get what they needed.
Yeah, now it's going to be looking like Black Fate. We'll be picking up one onto Lacuna. Boat Chicken looking up for the roam. Does not have the fish, so the other two will get out on top side. Never mind, the engage will continue. Waiting for the Lilia to potentially close the gap. No sleep on the Lilia, though. A lot of damage coming down, and that Blizzo's going to blow Black Fate to smithereens right there. A little bit of a strange maneuver.
Yeah, not really building tanks, so has been getting chunked down pretty hard. Oh, Napquan. I
Nothing
think
to say
Napquan
here.
just... Napquan...
Yeah.
There we go. Deletes Melee G from the top lane. Napquan is continuing to just put that gap. Obviously hasn't roamed down, so the moment they get into those 5v5 team fights, that set is going to be a problem for pretty much everyone on the Rift.
Yeah, a problem for everyone, for you, for me, for the sake of League of Legends itself. It's gonna be pretty dangerous here, for sure.
Yeah, and that is going to be another turret gone, so that is going to be a lot of just safety in the jungle that has pretty much been snapped away. Now, TD only having those like chickens and wolves area where they have firm control. Ooh.
Okay, we're gonna see a potential fight here. Black Fate missing the watch out here. Gonna get a 3 spin. Does not have the ulti, though, to follow that up. Damage ticking down here. Lizzo will pop the ulti to try and clean up here. Black Fate will be the first drop. Lacuna trying to hit with the scissors, but will not get those piercing shots in. A foot stomper, maybe getting a hook they did not want to get, as Lizzo will clean that one up. Sometimes we throw hooks that are fatal for us, and that was one of them, I think.
Yeah, I'm noticing... Oh, it just never stops.
Yeah, the fight will continue here as Boat Chicken trying to trade one back. Will not, as he gets snipped away. Turned into your favorite cut of fish. I don't know what Boat Chicken was doing there, but I suppose I never do. So, what else has changed?
Yeah, but that is going to be the top side turret. Obviously, also a lot of kills going over to TD, not a lot in response for BTL. So that gold lead has done more than close. It has completely elapsed, as now it's about a 1.2k gold lead for TD now, as they have very slowly and gradually taken the lead here. Again, not a lot of 5v5s yet.
Not a lot of 5v5s to look at, a lot of skirmishes, and speaking of skirmishes, Melee G is just getting a cyber bullied here on the Rift by Napquan and friends. Just getting absolutely bruisered and bullied, and it's gotta file a report on this one. I think it's just rude what's happening in this game, what they're doing to Melee G.
That's
let the man breathe.
Existence right there, up on an island, triple ganked every 2 minutes.
That's why I don't play that lane anymore. It's not fun. It's miserable, actually.
It could be a miserable place. It could be a miserable place, especially without a little bit of support. Which, unfortunately, right now TD are kind of having to hedge their bets a little bit, seeing as that top side is so weak, but they do have a chance, especially when it comes through that Mel, who's currently 4-2-4, and that Gwen, who is very quietly become 8-4-3, 40 CS gap between them and the LFA. So this Gwen has become a serious problem. I do believe we saw a bit of a start for the Drake, but I think they pulled off because they saw a lot of presence.
Yeah, Melee G gonna try and trade one here. The thing about Fiora is you never stop fighting. You keep gambling. You will win. You will rebuild your life. And perhaps Melee G will right here, looking to try and get that vital proc, but not able to, having to flash away. I was a little too close for comfort, but Melly G will go down once again. Keep gambling, Melly G. You'll get him next time. That's what I'm gonna say about that one. As the Cloud Drake will get picked up by TD. Lacuna securing that one. PTL trade that for the mid turret. They're now looking up to move on to top side, getting a back for Napquan and cleaning up that top side jungle.
Yeah, and we do see the real danger of losing so many turrets so early from TD. The fact that they have lost so much control of their jungle. Oh, it goes wide.
Ooh.
Okay.
Boat chicken. Zanya's gonna go down for the boat chicken here. Foot Stomper gonna try and get the depth charge down. Lizzo will be locked up and locked away. Napquan going for the 1v1 into Lacuna. Lacuna getting all that damage out. There's nothing to be able to do to fight back. Lacuna can only fire a couple of autos, or I guess Napquan can. And now Lacuna's moving into the bot side fight. Gonna step up Macho first. Double kill on the board. Looking to get that triple onto Black Fate, who is standing around like a deer in headlights right here. Lacuna is fast. Black Fate is a little bit faster. Maybe now the tables will turn. Black Fate, what are you doing? You're playing with fire right now, and you are all singed. You are a flaming hot corpse, as that is an ace in favor of TD.
Yeah, and that's going to really help them out. They were starting to lose a bit of that lead that they had just gotten. Obviously, up on that top lane, it's still a bit of struggle bus territory, but those kills do help reinforce that gold gap. It's now at about 2K, so that's going to be feeling really good. That's also not counting that turret that just got taken up on the top side. So now tier 2s for both the mid and top side are gone. Meanwhile, that bot side still has 2, so that's notable. You'd imagine you start seeing a little bit of pressure down there to both take them for that extra bit of gold and that control that they can get from that blue side jungle through taking them. But at the same time, it's not looking too much better for TD, who have 2 of their own. The tier 2s on the mid and the bot side are still available to them. Otacon is up. It's been up for a little bit here, so you'd imagine both teams are going to want to play around it. Obviously, the extra XP, the extra AP, as well as that slowing ability for those team fights are going to be very helpful, especially for melee champions who are going to want to gap close, i.e., that Lilia, the Gwen, the Fiora, and the Set.
Yeah, it's a matter you're going to want to be able to close that gap for sure. The Cloud Drakes will help, except this is... Okay, we do have a little bit of damage coming out here. On to Nap, I believe, yeah. Was that that was on the hunt popped right there. I guess Humble thought they were going to be able to get something out of it. Foot Stomper taking a bit of damage. Root's going to go down. We do have a flank coming in from Macho. Jumping in. Tristana rocket jumping in on top of the Gwen. Perhaps a foolish decision as Boat Chicken will get the assassinate onto Lizzo, but what do you get out of it in result? As quickly 3 fall, and TD didn't have to break a sweat to do so.
Yeah, and at the same time, the Fiora was up on the top side, just pretty much free farming. So obviously, he's not going to have too much of an impact on the actual fight. So they're saying, hey, who needs that? Just stay up on the top side, continue to put pressure, constantly drag someone away, or they come at the cost of losing more turrets. They're now knocking on the base. They do win that fight despite their lack of presence, and they get the Otacon. So that's a nice bonus for them, as TD are now in that position where they're trying to snowball. Ooh, ult used.
Ult was used. Melly G gonna try and survive this one. Will you issue the grand challenge, but does not actually want to take it? And yeah, that'll just be a dead Fiora here. Melly G continues to be cyberbullied, and it's just, I imagine, is just like thinking to themselves, I'm completely useless. What are you doing? Please stop.
I should have.
You're
played
wasting your
Yone. I should have
time.
played Yasuo. I almost hit my spike here in a little bit. No, but 0-7 is definitely a rough start for them. But luckily they do have that 14-4 Gwen, who is keeping them in the game, and obviously being able to side lane is helpful in its own right. It's just it does feel like whenever there's team fights, they kind of have to be really smart and they have to play well because they're kind of always at a 4v5.
Yeah, and we're gonna see a team fight right here. That's gonna be a 4v5 for sure. A ton of damage blasting out here from Black Fate and Macho, as we are gonna see what TD can
No
try and do,
way.
but it does not matter. It's because Lacuna is so hilariously accelerated right now that those snippers are clipping, and they are looking to get a highlight reel going, as that is a clean ace. 4v5 didn't even get one, as BTL are almost certainly going to lose here.
Yeah, they do have a bit of a wave, obviously a five-man presence. They were able to win the 4v5, by the way, without dropping a single person, which is kind of crazy. It does kind of come down, obviously the Nautilus is up, but I don't think Nautilus is going to have enough in the pocket here.
No, I think it may not matter. Yeah, Nautilus drops Boat Chicken. Try and pad the stats. Try and get one. You're going to get nothing, baby, as Lacuna, the hero of this game, will clean up game one.
Yeah, 190 CS versus what looked like 130. A bit of a gap. Obviously, that Lilia did do a lot of work. But at the end of the day, when you have Gwen just performing like that, and I think that's kind of a call to the entire league. I mentioned it kind of briefly towards the beginning when they were starting to get a lot of kills under their belt, but we saw them last week kind of rip apart their opponents on that Gwen in game 3, and it was a very quick game apparently, with them operating that Gwen, and they pick it first game here, and they almost just 1v9. Obviously, that Sivir and Braum setup did well. They just kind of held even, but they were
Mhm.
not going any crazy. Mel held their own against the Fizz, but wasn't crazy. Obviously, Fiora was like barely, not even a caster minion, just a melee minion, just up on the top side, split pushing. So the fact that they were able to practically 1v9, 17 kills, and just decimate BTL entirely, it really shows their quality on that champion. So I would not be surprised if that becomes a permaban for pretty much anyone going up against TD while Lacuna is playing for the whole rest of the split. So definitely an
Yeah,
interesting game one.
yeah, I don't think you risk it. And I will say, kind of looking at the results of this, uh, I do think that I liked how BTL played bot lane. I think that, especially in the early to mid game, I think they were doing well playing aggressively with the Nautilus Tristana. They were able to find a lot more than I assumed they were going to. Napquan, of course, played well in lane. Utilized the pressure to make Melee a non-factor in the game. But unfortunately, you can actually win League of Legends 4v5 if your Gwen is that fed. So, despite Melly G's best efforts, the team did win. Uh, so yeah, we'll see what BTL
Yeah.
can come back with in the next game. I think, we had the fun experiment with the Fizz. It's time to go back to something a little more normal for game 2.
Absolutely. But of course, this is just a best of 3, not a best of 1. So there's still more League of Legends to be played, as BTL are not out quite yet. But we are going to send to a brief intermission to allow the players to go get drinks, bathroom, and all that before we get into game number 2. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back with another banger in just a couple of minutes. Alrighty, everyone, we are getting underway with draft. It was a nice quick break, so we're not missing out on any of the action. Just as a reminder, of course, I said it at the top, but this is Fearless. So while we did see Lacuna kind of just take the game with a stranglehold on that Gwen is no longer available. So you can see there at the bottom of your screen every champion that's no longer in play. Obviously, those who were banned in game number 1 are still available to be picked, and they are still available to be banned. So we do see some start out, notably that Syndra. That's actually one of the highest presence champions in the entire game right now. It's one of the strongest champions in the game right now. So to see that get banned away, that's a pretty big pickup. That Caitlyn is actually also, I think I mentioned like the top 3 most picked champions, or I might have spoken it to us in the between games, but like 3 of the top 5 most picked champions of the split had been picked in game 1. I think Caitlyn and Syndra were the other 2, so all of the top 5 are now gone. So people are gonna have to pull pretty deep. Jinx is up there as well. So yeah, the champion pool's got to be deep for game number 2 here.
Yeah, we'll see what our players can bring to the table as we have the Volibear first pick, a decent flex, and BTL are throwing the gauntlet down with Senna Morgana. We did see Macho play, I think it was Macho who played Senna last week. Didn't actually look that bad. I do think Senna, this new kind of carry Senna, I do think is very interesting. I think it can be a huge threat, although she sort of fills the same kind of niche as like Ashe and Jin often do, where she can carry, but a lot of her value is in utility. The Morgana, I think, is a very interesting choice because she's typically a counter pick. You almost never blind Morgana unless you've got something funky planned. And I don't know if BTL is thinking maybe jungle Morgana or we're gonna
That's
try and do
exactly what I
some
was thinking.
Morgana mid nonsense. That could be in the cards. I won't say it's not in the cards. Meanwhile, TD picking a very oppressive bot lane here with Ezreal and Karma, leaving BTL to have to figure out what to do to close out round 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking the exact same thing because obviously Morgana, like you said, is more of a counter rather than an outright blind pick. And Senna typically goes with a more engage heavy or tanky pairing like a Nautilus or very specifically that Tom Kench. So I would not be surprised if Morgana ends up being a flex, but Morgana is not very strong in the current meta. So it may be more of a reactive pick where, much like we saw how the Lilia got a lot of value early because they were playing Lilia a little bit weirdly. Obviously, they tried to hyper farm, but they were ganking so heavily. They might try to have a similar effect where they catch them off guard and pick something that they weren't expecting to have to run into. But that's definitely a choice. And it does mean that I'd assume we see a support pick on R4 because I'd assume they were going to reserve Napquan's pick for R5 like they did because obviously Napquan was a big highlight in game number 1.
Yeah, it would make sense to look to try and get that as try and get that
Oh,
big pick
wait,
for Napquan as it is Camille, I guess. Could be
I
Camille.
completely forgot they picked Camille. Never mind.
I
Who knows?
mean, Camille was one of the lane partners for fasting Senna. Uh I don't think you want to do that at all, but the blind Camille going in, taking out a couple of her counter picks. I do think that is a good play, especially if you do not respect Melly G at all as a person. You just you blind pick your top laner and get rid of like the really easy counters, and you force Melly G to be like, okay, yeah, play your favorite champion, see what happens, bud. Play another skill matchup. It'll go great for you. And they are going to be taking the challenge here, picking up the Yak S. A kind of the best option into the Camille, but definitely still a skill matchup. It comes
Oh,
down to who clicks the button first. It's a kind of a game of chicken between these two. And Melly G did not win that game of chicken in game 1. Granted, was intervened with by the Morgana, who is looking like it may be jungle. We do have the
This is a Tom
Seraphine.
Kent. I'm going crazy. And like,
Uh,
what would that be? Tom Kent support mid Seraphine with a jungle Morgana. That would be insane.
the game plan is we
Please,
pick
I want
five.
to
We pick four supports with Napquan. That's actually the game plan. Okay. Oh
join.
no,
Okay,
it's,
it is right.
it
That's got to
is.
be a
It
support
is.
Seraphine jungle
It's
Morgana
Jungle
the mid
Morgana.
swing.
Holy. The fate when the
Well,
fate is black, I suppose. this is
yeah.
this is a choice.
So it's a choice. And before we break that choice down, I think I'm going to talk about TD because TD's makes far more sense logically. Obviously, a pretty aggressive pairing, a little bit more scaling when it comes to that Silas and Volibear is going to help him out in that mid to late game. But obviously, Jax is a skill matchup, but can be a bit of a lane bully, so you're expecting them to want to get ahead early. Meanwhile, that is, and Karma, you said it best, that's going to be a very oppressive lane. They're going to be putting pressure on that bot side, probably from the jump, which is going to be a very big change, seeing as we saw BTL try to do that in game number one, and they did it to great effect. And TD obviously had to back away, play a little bit more passive. So they're going to try to play a bit more proactive this time around. So I like TD's comp. I think it's a lot more well-rounded. It's obviously a bit more front to back. Maybe a little bit of divey if you count Volibear jumping into that back line, but it looks a lot more like they're just going to try to melt through the front line of Swain, I'd assume.
Yes.
Because BTL, I I don't even know where to start with BTL, my man.
uh, well, what BTL have brought to the table here is what we call a classic case of I'm picking my favorite champion. We did not actually come in with a game plan. We came in with the idea of we're playing Morgana jungle, and the rest of the team is like, oh, okay, all right. Well, I'll just play whatever then. Let's lose in peace. I don't know. I wish I could have more faith in the Morgana jungle, but it's Morgana's not in a good spot, man. And she's
It's
so
really
bad in
not.
this game.
I
She's just so atrocious.
I don't
The
remember
worst
when was the
part
last
is
time we saw Morg Jungle being a thing. Because I remember she was a thing, but then she got a pretty heavy ban. Didn't they nerf her jungle into the ground because it was too strong?
yeah,
I
they definitely not maybe it wasn't too strong, but they definitely did nerf it pretty heavily to try and curb some of the more I guess stronger elements of that pick, but jeez, it is. It's I don't want to completely count out the team,
yeah.
but I'm having trouble seeing the line. I'm having a little bit of trouble seeing the timeline here where we don't lose horribly. It's a bit of a struggle for me at least. But, you know, maybe they know something I don't.
Yeah, it looks like it was a while ago. I think this was a couple years ago, but they pretty heavily nerfed some monster damage, and lowered a lot of her damage overall. But on top of lowering her base damage, they also lowered her monster. So the clear, I believe, which used to be really strong because of the way you would jungle with her, like the pathing. You used to be able to clear like two camps at once. So that paired with some high damage meant that she was really good at hyper farming and then having a lot of impact on ganks. But obviously, with that more limited damage, uh, the pathing is a little bit slower and makes her a lot more susceptible to pretty gank heavy and early game fighting champions. So let's just say if this Volibear gets their hands on the Morgana in the jungle, unless they hit pretty much everything and they're level 6, so they could also use their ult, I think Volibear just has a free kill. So that's going to be definitely an interesting matchup, especially when we just saw Lacuna 1v9. So that's definitely a scary proposition. But I agree. I'm definitely not dooming the BTL lineup. It's just, it's going to be very. I don't think it's going to be a stomp by any means. I think it's going to be a lot closer.
You may not be dooming the BTL lineup. However, I am. I think this team is horrible, and I do not expect them to actually keep the game going past 25 minutes. I think we'll have a decisive conclusion around then.
Well, if that does end up being the case, TD will have officially brought themselves to 6-0, the only team to be 3-0 and completely undefeated in the split so far. So that's something they're going to be looking to play for. Meanwhile, BTL obviously looking to fight for hope. This is the last week without Balancy, so you definitely expect them to want to fight for that positive record going into week 4. So there's a lot to play for both teams, but before we get there, we do have the spectator delay. So do not go anywhere. Game number 2 between TD and BTL are going to be coming up in just a couple of minutes. Alrighty, everyone, we are getting underway in game number 2. Obviously, TD taking the lead, securing game number 1 off of the back of some crazy Gwen play from Lacuna. BTL drafted a response to that. One of the drafts of all time, but it is going to certainly make it a interesting game, as we do see BTL go for a more standard 5 points. Meanwhile, TD going for what looks like it's going to be a death bush towards this top side, though doesn't look like anyone's going to be really present to run into it, so it might just get some advanced vision.
Yeah, looks like unless they run into Napquan, which they might. Okay, Ward goes down. They're gonna try and get on Napquan. Jane's gonna go out, trying to land the Thunder. Will not do so. Napquan just hook shots over the wall. No, nothing traded there. Nobody dies horribly. I think both teams are okay with that.
Yeah, and that is actually going to give freeway for BTL to play a little bit more freely towards that bot side, as we see some very, very deep wards, one both on chickens and on to the red buff. So that's going to be a lot of information gained onto Lacuna. So it's actually probably in favor of BTL because, again, there's not much that was secured there by TD. Napquan got tickled a little bit and they got a ward right at Tribush, but that's really it. So BTL are going to be super happy with that outcome, as we do see people start getting into lanes. We do see Spotlight. Yeah, they're going to start again early.
Yeah, pretty aggressive here, trying to just step up, find some footing here. Is Black Fate going for the level 2 gank right now. Looking to try and land the Dark Binding. Lizzo being smart with the dash, saving it for that Dark Binding, as Black Fate looking to cheese a little bit there. I believe actually went for a cheeky invade and stole those raptors out from under Volibear's snout.
Yeah, and we do actually see some. Oh, Foot Stomper just dead?
Oh, yeah, Foot Stomper
Yeah,
is toast.
okay.
Yeah, okay. First blood going over to Humble. Now going to try and continue on to Macho. Slow will connect from the queue of Karma. One more auto. Humble tries to get it. Barrier will need to be popped. Macho stays alive. Both sums burned by Humble.
Okay, well that is going to help at that bounce side, and unlike last game where the first kill went over to the support, this time around as is the first one to get it. Lizzo is very weak here, but it's going to go in anyway.
Yeah, Lizzo going to try and fight this one out. Will flash away. Boat Chicken going to try and get that and will succeed. The Airy plus the auto will give Swain a big W here at the start.
Yeah, and that's kind of what they needed. Obviously, BTL very clearly trying to funnel in a lot of support over to that Swain and Camille.
Yeah. Oh, the fighting continues as Black Fate will pick up one on to Humble. As I imagine that was just I didn't quite catch the start of that because I was looking over at something else. But yeah, just another gang from Black Fate. The aggression from the Morgana here paying off.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of a change to how Morgana jungle has historically been played. Like I said, a very hyper farm champion who plays to get to that level 6 and then starts ganking pretty heavy. But this time around, we see them not only start with Q, which I thought was interesting, but they have been going for really early ganks. Napquan here is going to not spot out, but has the read that Lacuna is nearby, so he's just going to back away, but they know that that jungler is present, so not going to play nearly as aggressive. But yeah, no, the Morgana a little early. Obviously, one kill already is going to be nice.
One kill on the Morgana, a Boat Chicken. Gonna get traded on by Lizzo. Foot Stomper is around to help dissuade any further assault there, as yeah, this mid lane is very back and forth right now, and for using the power of the ranged champion, Boat Chicken does have a slight CS lead. I wouldn't expect to see that for the whole game, but is able to at least do fairly well in the CS department right now.
I just would like to point something out to you, Becky.
Yeah.
Goat Chicken has also bought Dark Seal. So they are
Of
very
course.
confident in their ability to
Of
win out
course.
this lane, especially early. So that is going to be something to look out for. They do already have a kill, so that it's 2 stacks for that Dark Seal. So they're not completely out of their mind to have picked it up. They're already getting some value. But right now, it seems pretty even across all lanes. But we do see Black Fate again with this early gank.
Yeah,
He's going to hit.
the dark binding will go down. That's a huge amount of time. Oh, good dodge from Humble, stepping forward to avoid the Seraphine double tap Q, popping the barrier, trying to survive. The exhaust will not be enough, and now Coco will be on target. The root from the Senna will land, but will not actually pick that one up. And another kill goes over to, with the help of Morgana, Black Twitch.
I mean, yeah, and at the end of the day, they're getting the value out of it. It's definitely a weird pickup, but it's seemingly working. I feel like it's a very similar way in which, like I mentioned before, to that Lilia that was playing a little bit off of what you would expect, kind of just sucker punching them and playing in a weird way that TD is struggling to adapt to early on. But that being said, BTL is finding the value, yet again, finding the first 3 kills of the map, which means that the feat of strength has gone their way. And just as it was the last time, neither major jungle objectives have really been secured. I think both have pretty, or only one has spawned so far, and it just barely spawned. So still going to be a long time before we see the feats of strength go to either side. But BTL obviously picking up 3. It's going to be a real good start.
Yeah, gonna be a pretty good start for themselves. I'm sure they're not gonna complain about that one, as Lizzo gonna take another trade into the boat chicken. Will sort of be, again, a fairly even trade. Black Fate on the top side, they do have vision. They're gonna ping that one out. As, okay, Dark Binding will connect. But
It's a lot of
nothing,
damage,
no,
too.
it is quite a bit of damage here. This is what happens when you make bold predictions, is sometimes they do not work out. Now, that isn't to say that I do not believe in Black Twitch's ability to lose this game, but they've put themselves in a decent position here. Granted, Lacuna did just pick up the first Drake, as we do have Melly G gonna dip out of here. First round of Grubbins is coming up, or the only round of Grubbins is coming up soon. Morgana is up near it, but I'm not sure if we'll necessarily want to take that. May just try and fish for Lizzo here in the mid lane. Or just counter
Actually, it
jungle.
looks like, yeah, doing a little bit of counter jungling there, trying to keep Lacuna down, which, like you said, they did pick up that Drake. They got it for practically free. There was a bit of presence from the bot side pairing of Macho and Footstopper, but they just backed away. But that Inferno is going to help out with the damage, as we see here.
Oh, boat chicken. Yeah, the stolen ultimate by Lizzo will make you stronger than Swain, actually. And so, yeah, with Silas will survive that one, getting the first kill over. Oh, I guess maybe not the first kill. Getting a kill over the boat chicken, and now securing a CS lead. That was the least surprising thing I've seen all day. As Coco taking a bit of damage here. Volibear is around. Lacuna, they could be looking for a dive. This is a pretty decent dive angle. Lacuna does have ulti. It's almost certainly going to go down. They're going to bring the thunder. They're going to bring the lightning. They're going to shut this turret off. TP is going to come in, but it may be too late for that to make a difference. Yeah, it's a slow go. Boat Chicken arrives, but everyone's dead around him. A double going over to Lacuna.
Yeah, thieves in the night. By the time the cops arrive, everything's already gone. There's nothing to play for. Boat is going to get rooted there.
Yeah, Boat Chicken going to try and actually play this one out. The ulti from the Senna is going to come through. And Boat Chicken will actually trade one back kind of unexpectedly.
Yeah, they'll get something out of it. It at least makes that TP worth its value, as well as they get those 2 stacks that they had just lost from the death in mid lane back. So that is pretty good for Boat Chicken. That's a pretty good response. It does also mean that they're now level 4v4 or 4-4 in kills, and it does make that gold lead pretty small for TP. It's only about 400 gold.
Yeah, and we'll have to see as the game continues. if Lacuna getting these couple of kills can convert into any kind of more long-term advantage, but I think Boat Chicken is a-okay trading that one back. Like you said, it is great to get that value out of the TP. As now we do have an engage here. Hextech Ultimatum is going to go onto Melee G. Black Fate will pop the Chains of Corruption, which I think is that's Varus ulti. I don't remember what kind of chains Morgana has. As yeah, it's going to be a pickup by Melee G. Well, just the black chains. Just the regular old chains.
Oh,
Chains,
sorry. Soul
classic.
Shackles.
The Soul Shackles.
Try saying that 5 times faster. I'm gonna call them the black.
Soul Shackles. Yeah. I mean, Soul Shackles is kind of sick. That's kind of a nice name.
It's a cool name, but
it's cool.
Yeah. But
it's a bit.
Yeah, no, it's a little tongue twistery. It makes it a little bit difficult. Melee G is gonna go in on Napcon here. Does have the speed and the hook shot to get out. Good thing they invested it because obviously Lacuna was running them down through the river. But that being said, BTL have taken a bit of a lead here, picking up that kill. Boat Chicken is going to die, I'd imagine. Never mind popping ult. Will they get away? Barely so. Go back in.
Boat Chicken fears nothing and nobody. Will try and not going to be able to get close enough there to get even just one more tick. And that will allow Lizzo to walk away with his life, as now we do have Humble trying to trade in here. Foot Stomper very low. The Encore gets thrown wide. That is a huge cooldown to lose right now, and Humble's playing with no fear. True Shot Barrage is going to be up soon. That could be a kill on a Foot Stomper once Humble gets this. Just, okay, there's going to be the True Shot Barrage. I don't think they've got the mana yet, though. Never mind, they do. It's going to come through, and yeah, it's going to be an easy kill. You got to be prepared for that.
Morgana on the back, though. They're going to pincer him in, but they're not expecting Lacuna.
Yeah, here come the Soul Shackles on to Humble. Lacuna's going to crash down, take out Macho, turn to try and help out Coco. Black Fate will pick up one on that trade back. We're 6 for 6 right now. Lacuna 3-0. Black Fate 2-0-2. Okay, without the dark binding, Black Fate being a little scared right here, waiting for that cooldown to come back up. Dark binding will go down. That's going to be a bait secured by the Boat Chicken.
Yeah, so if you're having trouble at home keeping track, in the extended fight, that is a 2-for-2. I was going to say in favor of a team, but it's mostly in favor of BTL because they remain on top after that. We do see Lizzo immediately come back to lane, try to go for the fight, has to back away because of that range. Foot Stomper is in the area as well, so that's something to keep track of. Meanwhile, Napquan is just doing some serious damage to this turret. I don't think they're going to get it, but we are now getting to the point where the feats of strength have to be taken into account. Obviously, Grubs did go over to BTL, so one apiece. So the big thing to fight for is, double world ender.
Oh, the double world ender will be traded here, and it will be a full trade as Boat Chicken and Lizzo both drop there. Black Fate on a killing spree right now. Melee G now gonna potentially win this 1v1 here. Doesn't have the mana to continue the fight as Napquan heals up. Napquan also has the Triforce, so that is a lot of damage. Extra damage for the Camille in the 1v1 there. Lacuna looking once again for an engage onto this bot side. And just off cooldown dive them. I think it's cruel, but I think it is very genius to do that. Because, I mean, what is Karma and Ezreal going to do? Shove them in. It's not Senna and Seraphine don't really have the ability to stop those waves from getting shoved, so you're stuck under turret, and then Volibear farms you. I think it's a good game plan. I can't disagree with the effectiveness of it. As Lizzo will be looking for a fight right here, gets tagged by the Dark Binding, will be forced to walk away from that one. As Black Fate, once again, getting a good trade here. We can see Lacuna, the least subtle Volibear right there. Already setting up for a dive. BTL has to know this is going to happen. There is a TP onto Boat Chicken, as Lizzo will be potentially in danger. Claw does not land by Boat Chicken. The Never Move doesn't go through. Soul Shackles is picked up by Silas, but he's got to get close to use them, and he will not. Lacuna forced to go into mid lane and to try and get onto the Boat Chicken. Will get tagged by the Never Move. slamming the Stormbringer into the boat chicken, but will get punished. You are rooted for 3 seconds, buddy. That is the Morgana Q ability. And yeah, Lacuna punished for a little bit of over-aggression.
Yeah, absolutely. As BTL extend their lead, now about 2K advanced now, but it is coming at the cost of jungle objectives. Of course, 2 Drakes now over to TD. Lizzo is in the position, but Black Fate is just nearby taking chickens. They were completely unaware and just tosses a binding down, and it's over. Lizzo's gone just like
Yeah.
that. So expanding it even more now, about 2.5 gold, 2.5K gold in favor. They're very close to securing a turret, which would just outright secure them the feat of strength in a very similar fashion to game number 1.
Yeah, I should have known, of course, that Morgana jungle is actually just the best in the game. It's the best in the format for sure. Truly incredible stuff from the Morgana. Geez, it's actually doing quite a lot this game.
There, we might have to eat our hats. We might,
If,
depending on how this game ends, we might have to eat our hats. We might have
yeah,
to.
I'm gonna have to DoorDash a hat. We're DoorDash is not for dinner; it's for hats exclusively. This game, if
I'll have to
they
make
can
a
close
YouTube
this one
apology
up.
video. I'll have to make a YouTube apology video.
Yeah, don't
But we
worry.
do see this top lane continue to kind of be wet noodle fights. I say that as Napcon does go very low. But at the end of the day, right now, only 1 kill difference between them. Obviously, a kill over to the Camille, but not too much. That turret does fall in the mid lane, which does mean that the feats of strength do go to BTL in the exact same fashion where two major jungle objectives were taken by TD. So they were close to being able to secure both, but all that they need, excuse me, not both, but just not quite there. So that's going to be a little bit of a buff. Notably here, this Morgana 4-0, by the way.
4-0 on the Morgana. Looking pretty good for themselves. Yeah, they've got a really solid lead over Lacuna there. Bo Chicken as well is a really nice lead for himself, as Lizzo may die here, both trading ultis, but Boat Chicken had the HP. Not sure what Lizzo was thinking with that one, as Black Fate's going to be fighting Lacuna with Napquan, using the Hextech Ultimatum to close the gap and lock up Lacuna, and Napquan cleans up the other. Because that's going to be 2 more kills in BTL's pocket, and it looks like BTL have pretty dominant control of this game now.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, Napquan now 3-0-0 after that. 4-0-6 is Black Fate. 5-2-2. So we were kind of talking in between games how it kind of felt like this team composition was just make Napquan and Blue Chicken raid bosses on the Swain and the Camille. But we were worried they would not be able to get themselves in a position to do that, but they've done it extremely well after some kind of risky but weird plays coming out from this Morgana, and because of it, they're in a prime position. If they can continue to snowball, if they can stop this Drake stacking, which next Drake is up in about 40 seconds, so they're going to have an opportunity to do so very soon. But if they can turn those jungle objectives around, start securing those buffs, they've already secured the feat of strength, so they'll be in a good position to snowball here.
Yeah, Lizzo's going to try and look for something right here. Flash is getting blown by Humble. Okay, we do have the Encore going to connect onto Lizzo. Lizzo going to get locked up, trying to fire the Encore. Hits nobody there. Nobody. That song. Black Fate's going to pick up one. The Soul Shackles will connect, stunning up. Coco will be the next to drop. Boat Chicken has now arrived, but does not even need to be there. Vision of Empire will get some info, but does not need to do anything else, as it looks like, yeah, BTL take another big win for themselves.
Yeah, and while BTL are doing a really good job at seizing the opportunities that are given to them, I must say some of them have just been kind of given to them. Both Lizzo and Lacuna, I've noted like 1 or 2 times a piece where they've just kind of taken very strange fights. And we saw there with Lizzo trying to take that fight aggressive, obviously gets caught up in the Encore and just gets stuck there, invests that Encore themselves, but completely whiffs it. And it's not the first time we've seen those fights just go so completely wrong after trying to play super aggressively. So TD, very much a different team than what we saw in game 1. Napquan caught out very far ahead here.
Yeah, Napquan Yeah, Napquan pushing up a bit, utilizing this Camille split. True Shot Barrage, we'll try and we'll clear out the wave there, stopping Boat Chicken from getting a whole lot more done down on the bot side. He doesn't seem to care though. He does have the yeah, he's got the TP, so he's free to stick around in bot side as long as he pleases. So he is just gonna do that. Kind of keep the Ezreal pinned down there, I suppose. As there isn't a whole lot going on right now. We are a little bit of time away from the Baron. The Otacon is up. 4 minutes off from our next Drake. So it's going to be a little bit before we see a big old fight.
Yeah, and it is the Ocean Soul, which is pretty good. That passive regen is really nice, but it's definitely not one of the better souls to have. We do see the Rift finally get secured, and Lacuna's going to try to do what they can to take this top tier 1, which I'd imagine they'll be able to do, which will be nice, seeing as they haven't really gained much control of the jungle besides that bot tier 1, but while they take up on the top side, they're going to lose out on the bot as the Otacon has been started. I don't believe there's even any vision for them to even know what's happening. Obviously, the other person nearby is Lizzo. Oh?
Okay, we do have a skirmish going on here, and Napquan will take that one with the Hextech Ultimatum. Boat Chicken gonna try and stop the siege on to mid. Will not be able to do so fast enough. On the bot side, though, BTL have secured the Otacon, and now Humble could be in a little bit of danger. Gonna get slowed down. Boat Chicken does have the Rylai's. Never move, doesn't go through. Humble will get the Arcane Shift out of there. Lacuna is around, but I don't know if Lacuna wants to take that fight. We do have the we do have the Thrift Shop Volibear here, where we have the random collection of items that just so happen to all work together pretty well.
Okay. That is the ult to get out of dodge there, as Lacuna having to invest a lot just not to get caught out and get another death on the tally. BTL are continuing the siege, like you said, securing the Otacon, also securing their first Drake, means that they have leveled the playing field in major jungle objectives. Obviously, they have the gold lead, pretty advanced one as well, about 5k. They have full control of the jungle, as you can see here. They get caught out.
Yeah, they're going to get caught out right now. Lacuna will pick up one onto Foot Stomper, but that is it. They're certainly not going to be complaining about that one, as BTL is forced back a little bit here, but nothing to fight over. Nothing, I guess nothing to take is that, unless Black Fate is caught out, going for a little bit of a risky play. The Stolen Senna ulti will get a little bit of a slow onto Black Fate. The Black Shield will stop the CDRs. Humble's trying to get some pot shots here. Black Fate's got the footwork right now, though. Happy Feet Wombo combo. Boat Chicken is now there and will stop them from going any further. Black Fate is tempting Fate this game.
Yeah, and Humble actually, I don't think they saw the Swain go into the bush, so that could have been very rough if Humble tried to play with fire anymore there. Could have been dragged in and very quickly sent to that gray screen, but instead they back away, they play it a little bit safe. And we do see BTL, having only secured those grubs early, is going to find a lot of value. Being able to get that buff means that this more late game siege is going to be even more effective. Lizzo struggling here.
Yeah, Lizzo will be struggling a little bit here, as Boat Chicken will go down, actually. Lizzo is able to kite back successfully, except Macho will get a snipe there off of the Senna Q. Trading one back on it to onto Lizzo. Boat Chicken stepping up just a little bit too far there, getting punished for it. But
more skirmishing.
Yeah, a little bit more skirmishing here. Sorry to interrupt. This Black Fate will not be able to get close enough to fire out a Dark Blinding. So yeah, that'll just be the jungle camp secured by BTL. They're now looking, their eyes are on the Drake. 20 seconds on that, as the bot lane look to go to the bot lane and get that moving, get that wave in, get mid wave in, and that'll be an easy Drake for them once that timer is up.
Yeah, and this is the downside of losing so many turrets early. They just have no control of this jungle. We saw it there as they try to push ahead. And obviously, they got one kill out of it, which was a little lucky on their part, just catching them with a few too many members or more than they were expecting. But now they just have no control of this jungle, very little vision. They're reading that the dragon take is there. Oh, they're going to get close, but the steal is just not. So that is going to be the second Ocean Drake going their way. So the Drake stacking has begun for them, and they're now tied up with TD. They've also again secured this Grubs. They also secured the Otacon. So on top of just being ahead on base, being 17-9 in kills, they now also have the snowball of all of those buffs in their back pocket. So we're now looking at the point where BTL are starting to look for those win cons. Obviously, a Baron would be the easiest one, and it is available. But you'd imagine it would have to be accompanied by a full 5v5 fight, because while they are down to their base turrets, they would still need a lot of room to actually do enough damage and close out the game off with one Baron.
Yeah, I don't think it's impossible, especially since TD has done a great job of giving up as many opportunities as possible here. But the thing about throwing is that the other team does have to catch it, and Black Twitch League have been doing a great job of exploiting kind of the over aggression of the TD players. And speaking of exploiting TD's players, Melly G is going to be in a little bit of danger here. Two-man encore as Napquan will be in danger here. A lot of stuns going down, a lot of CC. We do have the passive shield going to help out a little bit as now the cavalry has arrived. Melly G will be first to drop here once that counter-strike goes down. And now Humble over the wall, Arcane shifted, True Shot barraging in melee range, doing no damage and getting picked up there by Black Fate as BTL have done a great job collapsing in and counter-engaging on TD there. And now they're going to get their prize, Baron Nashor.
Yeah, and you can really see it in that team fight where there's just not enough damage coming out from that core of Lacuna, Lizzo, and Humble. Obviously chasing down Napquan on that Camille, and it just felt like they were doing nothing. Obviously, also Napquan having that get-out ability from the Camille with the hook shot, it just meant that between the limited time duration and the lack of damage, there's nothing they can do there.
Nothing they can do, at least for the moment, as Black Fate will pick up one with the Soul Shackles. Lizzo now going to be in grave danger here. The Dark Binding will just secure that death. In chains permanently is Silas. As now Black Fate taking a little bit of damage here from Humble, but is not going to be quite enough. True Shot Barrage will also connect. Black Fate, once again, tempting fate, but does not need to be concerned about that right now. It is 3v5. Let's make that 2v5 as Melly G will drop. There's nothing to be feared here as Black Twitch League are looking to close this one out.
Yeah, and I'd imagine it would happen. They do have the waves, they have the Baron buff, and there's just so much damage. TD have not done a good job of trying to capitalize on what they had early on, and instead they are just going to fall. The damage is being done. They're doing what they can to try to hold it off, but it is a mere distraction as tick by tick it falls. That the Nexus will eventually fall as well, and that is it. BTL gonna level the score out 1-1. They're gonna take us to game number 3.
Yeah, that's what we call a classic Bextradamus right there. Another fantastic prediction from one of the most incorrect people, one of the most incorrect league analysts. I gotta say, I completely disrespected BTL's composition. I didn't believe in Black Fate. I should have looked at the OPGGs. I probably would have seen that the Morgana was the plan all along. And hey, sometimes you pick your favorite champion, and that's all you need to do to win. And hey, I mean, the Morgana was crazy this game. It was the winning factor. They don't win without Morgana.
And to be fair, to give you credit, first of all, this is why I say I never doom post in the pregame. You never know. I too have had one too many false predictions. But to be fair, like I said before, that Morgana was not playing like a Morgana jungle. Obviously, very early on, it's typically a lot more hyper farming, waiting to that level 6, having very little impact early on. But that Morgana was spending more time in lanes ganking than they were in the actual jungle. And because they were able to get their laners so far ahead so early, they were just kind of able to capitalize on that. And they were able to counter jungle a lot more. So they were also depriving Lacuna of resources as well. So I would agree. I really think the Morgana was the key factor here. I don't think TD really knew how to deal with it, but at the same time, that was not played like a normal, typical Morgana jungle, but that was used to a great effect, and you could almost put the entire win on the back of that. But you also had to give massive credit to Melly G and Lizzo, obviously. That Camille and Swain combination, obviously the constant side pushing from the Camille, as well as that constant presence from Swain in the team fight, just made it very difficult for TD to deal with. So BTO, they take that game and they're going to send us to game number 3. Becky, how you feel? And we're going all the way here.
Yeah, I think hopefully TD have a good plan, but I do think it would be very funny if BTL do win this, because then we can make the chart where it is BTL is better than TD, and who's better than BTL? Flannel Esports, baby. It's all coming together. Flannel season is here. That's right. Biased Becky never left. That's all I gotta say.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we are going to send it over to a quick intermission to allow the players to get a drink, use the bathroom, and all of that such. So don't go anywhere. Game number 3 of week 3 of the LFA is coming at you in just a couple of minutes. All Alrighty, we are underway with the draft. Obviously, game number 3. If you're just now joining us, welcome to a banger of a series. Obviously, 1-1-2 TD and BTL. My name is Soren. Joining me on the desk is Becky. We are in Fearless, so it was not as big of an impact in game number 2, obviously, because only 10 were gone. But now, as we are getting into game number 3, every champion that has been picked prior is no longer available, which means we have 20 champions off the bench. So there's no picking some of the most played champions right now. Actually, according to the stats for the LFA, I believe numbers 1 through 8 of the most played champions are off the table. So we are officially digging deep here, ladies and gentlemen, especially as we see that Caitlyn ban away, that Leona, the Syndra, all very high presence champions as well. So we're going to have to see some crazy picks, maybe something like a Morgana jungle again. Obviously, not going to be available,
Ooh.
but we might see something to that level to try to throw off these teams because obviously BTL have been able to do it twice now to some great effect and some outstanding effect.
Yeah, BTL did come out swinging last game with an ambitious draft, a unique champion pick that uh arguably single-handedly secured them that game. And it's what we call smart gameplay. You cannot blame them for doing for doing a little bit of smart gameplay here. And now TD having to go back to the drawing board a little bit here to figure out what they can do. And it looks like they're taking out some of those kind of easy win buttons like the Sejuani, Leona, and Misfortune. And it looks like BTL will go for the Ashe first. Again, favoring maybe more of that utility AD carry.
Yeah, also technically can go support, though marksman support is no longer anywhere near as viable. But we say that Morgana hasn't been viable in the jungle for almost 3 years. So who knows? Maybe they're gonna pull it out. It would be a really strong flex pick. I think technically can also go mid, but that's very, very niche.
Mhm.
Lucian, not surprised. I was gonna say one of the top picks is probably gonna be Lucian and Xin Zhao. Those are two of like the top 10 champions that were not picked or banned out quite yet. So those are two very high value picks that TD just secured. You'd imagine they would try to go with the Nami here, as that is still available and it has not been banned away. But BTL do have an option to snipe it here, but I don't know if an Ashe Nami bot lane pairing is the move. But we do see that Vi get picked up, so not quite like a point and click, just remove button like the Sejuani and the Leona, but very, very close with that point and click knockup. And a lot of CC to the name as well. So still a very high value setup jungle who can also have a lot of pressure ganking early.
Yeah, we do have the Lucian and Xin Zhao picked up for the side of TD, and it looks like BT. Okay, we do have the
All right.
Taric. Yeah, Taric will be locked in. That is very interesting. Uh, Obviously, the Cosmic Radiance is a fantastic ability. Works pretty well with the Vi. You can tether to Vi, and you can drop Cosmic Radiance on the Vi, which allows her to be a little bit safer in her engages. And it allows you to disengage a little bit if you're feeling a little worse for wear, especially once Xin Zhao jumps in. The Milio will be picked up as the partner for Lucian, uh pretty decent, not similar to how the Nami Lucian operates, although a little bit less high power in that regard, but is still a pretty formidable lane to have as our first round of picks. The next round of bans already dropped down here, and it looks like they're gonna be blind picking Hui for Lizzo. Lizzo's Hui, a favorite of his. So excited to see what he's gonna do on that, and also excited to see what Boat Chicken has in store to try and respond to it.
Yeah, I'd imagine we're going to see something a little bit more proactive for this R5 of TD because obviously Lucian's very strong, is a pretty go-in champion, but Milio is a good enchanter, but typically seen as a little bit more defensive. So that bot lane is not going to be quite as oppressive as we saw them operate in game number 1. And obviously Hui being an artillerist mage, not particularly a heavy go-in. Jin Zhao, though, is very heavy go-in, so you'd imagine R5 is going to possibly help them out a little bit, especially when it comes to team fighting. So we'll have to wait and see that. Echo does seem like is going to be the response. I'd imagine that's going mid with the Mundo on top. Okay, yeah, I forgot about
Yeah.
Vi there for a second. So this looks like a pretty, I want to say bog standard because it is not, seeing as, again, we're in Fearless, so these are not the go-to picks for this composition style, but I think this is a pretty solid front to back composition. They're going to want to take the fights. Echo is obviously going to offer a little bit of flanking value, but they're just going to want to run straight into the line of TD. And they're just going to want to melt down any tanks they may have. Meanwhile, I'd imagine this is a little bit more go ahead. Yeah, Mbessa is going to be selected. So Mbessa is going to be that partner that's in Zhao, a little bit more go in heavy, offers a little bit of assistance in the actual front line, but neither of them are outright tanks. So that's going to be something to note. But if they can just pull enough attention, backline combo of Illusion and Hui, who could put a bit of distance between them and whoever they're targeting and just melts pretty much anyone. So, two really interesting compositions. I think this is a lot sounder of a composition for BTL than we saw the last one. But we also saw them have a sound composition in game one, and we saw how that went. So, no real trickery this time around. We'll see how it plays out here. But, Becky, what's your thoughts?
Oh man. Well, I do think that we both these compositions are a lot more standard than we saw last game. Nothing really
Yeah.
too funny. I think the most unusual is honestly the Echo. Is a bit of an interesting choice coming out here. Not something you see very often, but plays very similarly to the theory behind Fizz into Mel. You play again that kind of aggressive dive melee champion into the Hui for similar reasons, but I'm not necessarily sure. Again, it's going to come down to if Boat Chicken can pilot it to success. And based on game one, maybe a little bit shaky on that. If I had to take a pick for just based on the drafts, it's I like most of what BTL have drafted. I have I have some concerns about the Echo. I don't necessarily know if that's going to be the most useful of champions, and I also am a little bit concerned about the Taric. The Cosmic Radiance is a great ability, but otherwise Taric is a little bit lackluster throughout the game. His buttons aren't terrible, but compared to kind of the effectiveness of what Milio brings to the table, which is a constant stream of just good things happening, Tarek requires a lot more coordination. He requires a lot of timing, and I don't necessarily know if I've seen enough from Black Twitch League to feel confident in that Tarek being executed properly. Plus, I think giving it'll be interesting to see how Melly G does in top on the Mbessa. I think actually having a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, from
So
what I can see, Ambessa does
we'll see.
typically win out against the Mundo. It is a little favorable, but it's nothing crazy. It's not like it's a hard counter. But I do agree. I think that's going to actually be a matchup to kind of look out for because obviously we saw Melee G really struggle in game number one, and they were able to win regardless. But in game number two, keeping them down again without the help of Lacuna, um, they weren't really able to do much, and they continued to just kind of get bullied. So I'm really hoping to see a lot more coming out from Melee G. Obviously, he was one of the standout players in split number one. They were on the ADC role at the time, but they are still a very solid top laner, and they're one of the best performing top laners as well so far in the split. So you would expect to have a little bit more impact from them. So that's going to be a real big matchup. But I do agree. I also think that mid lane is going to be a huge one. I'm actually expecting these two junglers to not quite have as much impact. I'm expecting a little bit more of a support play from them, setting up
Okay.
the other possible carriers for their team.
Okay. We'll have to see if that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. But that being said, we are going to send it over to a quick break because obviously we had that spectator delay. So do not go anywhere. We have game number three, the decider between Black Twitch League and TD in week three of the LFA coming at you in just a couple of minutes. it all comes down to this. BTL versus TD 1-1. And just as a little bit of a teaser, I believe we got a little background info on some of the other games happening. It looks like High Alert, I believe after winning week 2, have just possibly 2-0 ID'd. So the split is getting crazy, ladies and gentlemen. And we do see it get even crazier here as Black Twitch League, again, another 1-1 team, are looking to bring the first defeat to TD to start this split. And it does look like it's a pretty standard start, but Black Fate is going to be caught out and take a little bit of chip damage, but nothing too crazy. Oh, Kuna.
Oh, nothing crazy so far unless Lacuna decides to get caught out. We'll have to burn Flash there. That's pretty bad, actually. That's not great for Zinzao early on.
Absolutely.
Okay, Bo Chicken, what are you doing, bud? Yeah, let's calm down. All right.
Goat Chicken going in for the kill. I like it.
Bo Chicken, you gotta stop, buddy. Oh wait, hold on. The fighting continues as we do have a stun coming out. Macho gonna get some slows out with the lethal tempo. Is pretty dangerous. So I don't know. We'll see. As yeah, Humble and Coco took a little bit of damage there in that exchange. Honestly, a lot of exchanges across the board have been doing quite a bit of damages. Now, we are going to see how this lane goes for Napquan. It should be fairly heavily Ambessa favored. However, it comes down to, I guess, if Meli-G is human, it should be very easy for him to win. If not, perhaps Napquan can find an advantage in the top side here. But we'll have to see as the lane states develop. Napquan has gotten a lot of attention in previous games, so I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe Black Fate visit there.
And it looks like that is currently the plan, seeing as Black Fate do start on their bottom side jungle, which means they should end up towards this top side, though we have seen them make a full side jungle clear, then go towards that respective side. We saw that back on game number 1 on the Lilia, I believe. So that's something to keep note of, but it doesn't look like that's the case. They are finishing up chickens, and notably, Lacuna was a little late. Oh, Humble has to flash to save themselves. Maybe?
Humble, okay, Humble. Okay. Humble is A-okay for the time being.
It's a weird looking A-okay, but they'll take it. Oh, Lacuna going in though.
Yeah, Lacuna's gonna continue to try and keep the pain going. The fear will actually connect onto the boat chicken as Black Fate gonna get invaded on here. Meli-G trying to just get some damage out onto Black Fate. Pulling Napquan down from the top lane. But Meli's not going to give this one up here. Going to try and fight this one out. We do have Meli-G going to try and take the 2v1. We'll get the first blood here. And now it should just be a matter of time cleaning this one up with those abilities. Napquan going to have to flash as Meli-G will not go any further. Not going to take that one. Knows Boat Chicken is around and will not step up any further. Potentially could try and look for more onto Napquan in lane, but red buff Ambessa here this early is pretty brutal.
Yeah, that's very scary. And on top of that, that does also really hurt Napquan because it was very clear that it looked like the path was to go and gank them up on that top side, but in turn, the Ambessa turns around, interrupts that clear, so now the jungler is even farther behind. They won't be able to go in on the Ambessa anymore, and Napquan also took that fight, so they're weak as well.
Yeah, and we'll see if the fight will continue right now. Meli-G very low on HP, does have the shields though, does have the dashes, will stay alive just narrowly as Lacuna picks up one, and with the wind becomes lightning, Napquan becomes dead, as that is another one picked up, a doubler for Lacuna up on the top side.
Yeah, and that's the feats of warfare going over to TD. The first time that has been the case. This is also the first time we've really seen a really strong start coming out of TD. BTL have started strong, or on the strong side at least. For the first 2 games, they kind of threw it away in game number 1, and they snowballed off of it in game number 2. So this is the first real deviation that we've seen from that. So that is an interesting thing to keep note. as we do see this mid lane continue to be a pretty even affair. I imagine we're going to see that continue. But yeah, I said it and I maybe cursed it a little bit. Xin Zhao already 2-0-0. Maybe we'll have a little bit more impact rather than a support role.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense how this game is go. Both these junglers do like to play a bit aggressively, no matter how supportive they could tend to be. Black Fate will not land the Vi Q, as the Wind Becomes Lightning does not connect off of the flash, and Boat Chicken is able to walk out of this one.
Yeah, both mid laners are very low, though. They are very susceptible to ganks, and obviously there's a lot of presence there. Meanwhile, Melly G, no longer with the red buff, but 1-0-2, one of the only two with a bounty on their head as well, so a lot to play for. 10 CS-ish gold lead as well. Xin Zhao also has about a 10 CS lead, so this top and jungle pairing becoming a little scary. Meanwhile, the spot lane, despite some early aggression, hasn't been too crazy. It's a 0-0, and there's a bit of a CS gap in favor of the solution. Humble, but it's nothing crazy enough. But we do see Black Fate get into position for a possible fight here.
A potential fight could be brewing. Black Fate sitting in the bush looking for a potential lane gank, charging up that punch, will punch into the Lucian. Lucian does not have flash, does have the other summoner, may not need to pop it. Barrier will remain. Lucian gonna fire back a little bit here, but will stay safe. Meanwhile, Melly G is going for the public execution and will be publicly embarrassed as the briefcase collects on that dive right there. One whiffed ability and Mbessa is down. Napquan getting a freebie.
Yeah, they are going to be chased down by Lacuna, though. I'd imagine this is just a kill, even if it's delayed.
Yeah, okay, there we go. There we go. Oh, TP coming in from... that's a Boat Chicken TP. A very late TP once again. Buddy thinks this is like last season. TP was changed like 10 years ago, dude. What are you doing? You can't use it like you used to, man. Stop that.
Will invest that TP, then have to take the long walk of shame down the river. Meanwhile, that Mbessa is kind of free farming up there. It just continue to catch up and experience. Oh, Lizzo. Rocking hard.
Lizzo could be in a little bit of danger here. Stun from the bubble will not need to land, as that's going to be enough CC to secure that one up. Good stuff from Boat Chicken and Black Fate.
Yeah, and we do see that's a lot of turret damage being dealt to that mid-tier 1, so that's something to keep track of. No major maybe major jungle objectives. Sorry about that. To have been secured yet. The Drake is up, and so are Grubby, so that is something to keep note of for the possibility to play for. But neither team having secure them. The feature strength, obviously, something teams are going to want to play for. We have seen TD fight to get those, major jungle objectives, but fail to do so. But having already picked up one of them, they might have more luck this time around.
Yeah, and we do have a fight breaking out. Lacuna will use the Crescent Guard, but will not guard themselves enough. Melly G gonna try and fight this one out 3v1, but it is not nearly enough for the Iron Lady, as Melly G will go down. Lizzo will pick one up on the back foot there. The exhaust will connect. We'll try and get Boat Chicken in range to keep that going. Cosmic Radiance is not even learned yet, because this Taric is level 5. As Boat Chicken is still trying to stay around, but he's not going to be feeling very healthy about that. Dipping and dodging and diving, but not able to duck from that airy, as Lizzo will pick that one up. And with another Spire, the Foot Stomper staying there a very much too long and getting punished for his sins.
That was 3 kills going over to that Hui, by the way. That Hui just went from 1-0-0 to, or 0-1-0 to 3-1-0. And that has drastically put not C, what? That has drastically put TD ahead. That also does pretty much secure them the grubs as well. It will not really be contested, as Zhao is going to get all 3. So it's going to be the buff and the tracker for the feat of strength there. So that is going to be huge for them.
Could be a little huge here as Lizzo's going to get, again, locked up, taken out. Quay is pretty easy to punish if you are able to get in on him. And so we do have stuns chaining in onto Humble there as the culling will get fired. Macho taking quite a bit of damage here. Lucian trying to fire back. He's fast and he's furious right here. Just one more auto will take Macho down. The dazzles are landing, but it's not nearly enough. Ash getting out damaged by the Lucian Milio combo. Boat Chicken gonna try and clean this one up. We do have a TP coming in from Lizzo, and this is going to be a good one. A great flank here. Cosmic Radiance going to go down. Boat Chicken going to get a lot of survivability, and that's going to be a crazy stun. The parallel convergence is actually going to make a huge difference there. Lizzo getting a little bit too ambitious off of that TP and getting sent back to a gray screen. But now Lacuna is here and on the fight. Does have the Crescent Guard, so can try and keep themselves safe a little bit longer, waiting to pop that ability. It will knock them around. We'll pick up one onto Black Fate. Gonna pick up 2, trying to finish this one out on to Foot Stomper. Flashing with the winds become lightning. That's gonna be a triple into Lacuna, who cleans that one up. Call him Janitor Zinzao. He's got the broom in his hand.
Yeah, 6-1-1 now. That was a bit of a risky play from Lizzo, but it does give them weak. And while it gives over a free kill, it is massive for this Zhao, who's now in such an advanced position. Macho is also just going to get deleted.
Yeah, Macho's dead.
Not a lot of mobility.
Nothing to say there. Macho's toast. Good night, y'all. It is what it is. You take what you can get. Sometimes you don't get much. These things happen in our lives. TD looking pretty all right for themselves off of that turnaround. I'm sure they aren't complaining about it at the very least. They're happy to get something in their pockets.
Yeah, absolutely, and they continue to expand their lead. I think he's gone.
Yeah, the cease and desist will hit on to Lizzo. Another kill onto the Hui. Lizzo looking so good at the start, picking up a couple of freebies, is now having to pay for them in double. You can't, I guess there's no such thing as a free lunch even for Hui. As got another death on the board for that, for the mid laner of TD, as Coco has roamed top, everyone.
They're just going to say hi. No. There's a chance they help here. Melee is a little weak, but with the bonus healing and that shielding, they are going to go in. But
Melee should be winning this. What is this? Why are we?
I don't know, man.
I guess we didn't have anything better to do with the Melee. I was just like, whatever, go top, buddy. I just want to be down here on my own. I guess Lucian does take advantage of getting some extra early levels, but maybe not going to be super happy about getting absolutely blasted here. I'm not going to say what this is resembling right now. Coco's a hero right now. The Dazzle's going to go through. Maybe Footstopper's an even bigger hero. Oh my goodness, Coco with the save of a lifetime right there. Humble.
Coco's 0-8 right now, by the way. Coco's yet to die. I hope I don't catch
Coco might actually be nice with it. That's insane.
I've officially given up my goat status. It's no longer goat chicken. It's goatco.
Goatco.
Is that? I don't. That feels like weird. I don't know why. I don't like the way that sounds. But yeah,
I don't like how that sounds either.
Yeah, it sounds. It's one of those words where it sounds derogatory, even if it's not. Boat Chicken, formerly Goat Chicken, is gone. Up against Artillerist Mage, less than a quarter of health remaining. At that point, they're just sentenced to death. So that is going to be 14 kills now for TD. They have about a 3k gold lead in their back pocket. They pick up Grubs, and they pick up that first Drake as well. So the Mountain Drake to be secured. That is nice. That's actually a bit of tankiness for a team that really doesn't have an outright tank. So the Mbissa and the Zinzao are appreciating that.
Yeah, for sure. And who's not Emperor is Lizzo once again dead to the Vi, as Napquan will dodge out of the wind become lightning. That's going to be a TP in from the Boat Chicken, who is trying to flip this one back around, looking for the parallel convergence, trying to get the shield. Will have that ulti as well in pocket. Never mind, Boat Chicken definitely does not have ulti. Will just die horribly. And that TP sucked. That was a little weird. And now, for some reason, Black Fate is decided to also die. Oh no, things just sort of collapsing. Now the culling will fire through, cutting a hole in the Black Twitch League's bot lane. Cosmic Radiant's gonna get popped. The snipe from the piercing light. From the Lucian, he's gonna dip forward. Barrier has to get popped to avoid dying to that. Oh, it's a disaster, folks. It's a disaster.
Man, if only they had Morgana.
If only.
No, but TD is now in a steamrolling position. The gold gap has now surpassed 5k, 17 kills, so an 8-kill lead in hand. Also, the only team to have secured any jungle objectives. Have they taken? I believe they just took that bot tier 1 as well, so that is the feature strength secured for them. So they are in a position to snowball. I'm not confident in the ability to say that it's anywhere near close to being over, but TD in a position where they can kind of just keep their hands on the reins of the game as long as they don't throw it away. I am looking at Melee who is very low and definitely needs to do a recall here, but if they can just keep everything under control, not allow any major spikes and kills to go any of the hyper carries for BTL, they should be in a pretty good position.
Yeah, and it looks like Melee will get dove here using the public execution to try and get a little bit of time bought. That is borrowed time for sure, as Melee will go down on that one. Maybe not making the most out of the Sam Bessa counter pick, as it doesn't really matter. Even if the turret goes down, the trade will be TD picking up the Drake on the bot side. That is their second Drake, and now the Drake win condition is a lot easier, and it is an Ocean Drake, which will be pretty good. It'll, if nothing else, to deny that from Mundo, picking up as many of those Ocean Drakes as possible. If BTL can start stacking those Oceans, that's actually a pretty dangerous thing to start seeing, because the healing will be very good, as the culling just culls through Macho, who had absolutely no chance there with Coco providing the cleanse off of that ulti. Black Fate, though, going to try and dive in on the Milio. Does have the cease and desist, I believe, but is not going to use it. On the bot side here, Boat Chicken's going to trade his life for the turret, and will go down as a result back in mid. Crescent Guard's going to get fired, as Black Fate will be locked up by Lacuna on the other side. Napquan's going to try and trade back here. Black Fate staying alive with the help of the Terra. Quay has now arrived and becomes lightning. Will snipe out Black Fate. Cosmic Radiance comes down, but a little too late, as Foot Stomper will drop, and now Napquan on his own, trying to heal out as much as he can, but it's going to be another triple going into the pocket of Lacuna, and it's all Macho left on the Rift. TD may have some members limping away, but BTL don't even have bodies to limp with.
Nah, they're not limping away. That's my goat code. Just absolutely continuing to dominate. 0-13 now, keeping the team alive after losing Humble there, just hopping on to Lacuna, who is in such an advanced position, 10-1-2 themselves. Another thing that I spoke into existence, but they are just ripping through them, and you can see it again here. Have the poppy ult.
Yeah. Lizzo, looks like Lizzo will probably drop here once again. Oh, but will actually trade for the Boat Chicken this time, has that burn on the Blackfire Torch and Leandri's, which will be more than enough as Lacuna has decided that you do not get your chickens, sir. And now with a public execution, Footstomper could be in danger. Enchanted Crystal Arrow will stun up the Ambessa, but there's no damage to follow up as the Taric will drop. Macho's running for the hills, but the hills are so far away. There's no way you're getting to them. And not only that, but they have eyes and they're watching you very disappointedly, as that is going to be another kill picked up by Lacuna and Melly G both. And on the top side, Coco and Humble applying so much pressure. It is just TD taking this entire game by storm right now. They are not letting up.
Yeah, and you got to give massive credit to Lacuna. I mean, they got a lot of praise in the last series because they won off back when. Oh, Melly G is dead.
Yep.
They are.
Melly G's dead. Melly G's dead. This is okay. We calculated for this. We accounted for this in our planning.
Boat Chicken. Oh,
Boat
goes
Chicken?
into the middle of them.
The inner machinations of his mind are an enigma. What you don't understand is that Boat Chicken cannot be predicted. He cannot be controlled. He is stronger, faster, and more handsome than any other player we have. And that's actually the crazy part, is he's allowed to play with the rest of us. You know, he takes time out of his busy day to come here on the Rift.
The modern day Chuck Norris.
Yeah, Jesus. Why did he do that? It's just brain off. Just, I'm gonna die! And then dies even worse.
They are gonna start the Otacon. They drop the Ripley on the bot side, and I don't think they're gonna really have much say in the matter. They're gonna have to deal with that Rift Herald, which is gonna take them a second. And between the damage and they just 3-man took that Otacon and they ended at full health. Coco is just out healing everyone. Lacuna is just out damaging everything. Oh my.
Oh my, it's gonna be another bit of a slobber knocker right now as BTL are running for the hills. This they do have the Herald alive. It looks like somebody's going to drive it. I think that's Lacuna in the Herald. Yeah, that will be a successful drive right there into the turret. Will almost certainly go down. It's now Lacuna's going to keep the charge going. Cosmic Radiance will drop. That'll buy some time for BTL, but do they have the damage? No, they do not. The Crescent Guard will keep Lacuna safe from Macho's damage for long enough that Humble can clean up easily. And now Lizzo is here. Lizzo will blast away Macho with the help of Humble, cleaning that one up on the side. One inhib down, another's gonna fall almost certainly. And I have to wonder if there's even a hope and a prayer left for Black Twitch League. As now with Ambessa raining in on the top side, we're looking at a potential triple inhib maneuver in on this one.
No Baron, only 2 Drakes as well. Only at 22 minutes. It's real early. BTL are just super far behind in this game, and it really is off the back of play between, Humble. Macho. Oh.
Okay, we do have another fight breaking out here. Bow Chicken is actually going to get one off on the side onto Lizzo Mukbang. Make sure you post about that in chat. It's you killed your lane opponent. That's really what matters in League of Legends. A Boat Chicken will dive back using his ulti to try and buy some time. But once again, time is far too expensive for you to purchase. And with the entirety of BTL taken out, their base in tatters, no hope, there's nothing left for BTL as they have been cleanly routed by the side of TD.
Okay, 23 minutes. I don't know if that's a record for us, but that is a darn close to probably one of the shortest games that we've had for the split. Obviously, BTL doing really good in game number 2. That Morgana pick, pulling out of the back pocket, found a lot of value and took us to a game 3. But TD did not appreciate that, and they really did not want to give them an inch, and they didn't. I know I was joking about it, but I think at the very end there, Coco was like 0-0, and I think they were close to 20. I at least saw 18. So I was joking about it being Goko, but Coco was constantly sitting between that Lucian and that Jinzhao, and just constantly keeping them in a position where they can keep fighting, sustain that fight longer and longer. And they were in such an advanced position that the damage that they dealt between the two carries, it just felt like there was nothing. They could have thrown all five at those three, and there was nothing BTL could have done. They got a
Hmm.
hold, like I said, they got a hold of the reins really early, and as long as they did not purposefully let them go and they played smart, they would have it for the entire rest of the game. And they did not just do it. They tightened their grip and just
Hmm.
leg locked them in and said, you're going down, and it's going down quickly here. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, TD, super strong win.
Yeah, and with that, TD, they will have dropped now a game, but they will maintain their flawless series record. 3-0 right now. Taking a look at some of our other series that have been completed now. It looks like TTM took the series over Mint 2-0. Oh, looking at the score. Oh, Shepard not doing so hot. And it looks like Final Boss did 2-0, the protagonist of the Legend Esports flannel, which is, it is what it is. Better luck next week. We'll get him then. We'll get him then. Trust the process. Never
Yeah.
give up. Never surrender. But yeah, anything else you want to say? I suppose
Not
it is.
much.
This is your
I
show.
do I do want to point out that the fact that I believe ID did lose, that does mean that the only other team that is in contention to possibly be 3-0 at the top of the table with TD is Final Boss. So that is a storyline to look out for. There's only two teams possible to be undefeated at the end of week 3, and right now, there's only one team that's locked in that spot. So that's going to be something to watch out for the future weeks. But of course, we are still so early in the split. Anything can happen. So you're just going to have to tune in every single week. As always, same time, same place. Legends GG Twitch channel, 8 p.m. Excuse me, I almost said 8 a.m. 8 p.m. EST, the only time zone that matters. But I do believe that's all we got for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, special thanks to everyone doing everything in the background. Thank you, Becky, for filling in for Sheep. Really appreciate you. It was a pleasure to have you on the desk. Special thanks to Giggle for producing, as always, the TOs happening and doing the work behind the scenes, the players for coming up and showing out, and of course, you, the viewers, because if you're not here, what are we doing it for? Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week.